Hello, everybody. This is Pat Loveless, your official peace delegate here in Takoma Park. Usually you hear me speaking over at the city council meeting, but right now I'm in room 4222 over here at Washington Adventist Hospital. Because the other day, on the last Thursday morning, on August 20th, I fell out of bed and fractured my leg in several places along the tibia. And a tibial fracture, that's the long weight-bearing bone on your lower leg. And I had to have bone surgery. They operated Monday, and that hurt like hell. They had to put plates and screws in, and everything else. They had to put other hardware in for the bone because it was broken in several places, several fracture zones. And they had to put a lot of little pieces back together. So the surgeons had their job cut out for them. And I'm going to rehab afterwards to get my strength back up. And I'd like to ask everybody out there when they think of me, work for peace. Donate blood. I had a blood transfusion here, and I want to thank the donors very much. And I want to ask people out there, donating blood and organs is a way to work for peace, because you're saving a life, a human life. So if you got blood and you can donate, don't be selfish with it. Pass it around. You pass the bottle around, you can pass the blood around. Be a donor. Be an organ donor and be a blood donor. Go down to your Red Cross, donate blood, because we need it. And I want to thank the nurses over there on the ICU. And I want to thank the nurses over here. I want to thank Hosway, the nurse's aide who came to me last night. And I want to thank Art and the other nurses over here. And I want to thank everybody over here on Unit 4200. And I want to thank the other people over at the MICU over in 4100. I was over there. I was in 4106. When I was admitted, I was in here I was over there until yesterday afternoon. They moved me over here to yesterday afternoon. And I want to tell everybody out there, please, think about the people when you think about violence. Think about the kind of pain I go through now. Ever since the Ku Klux Klan beat me up with that bricks. And I got that gangrene. And then I developed granulomatosis out of that, Wegener's granulomatosis, which is an immune disorder because it attacked my blood vessels and the bones, because the bones and the fingers were exposed for several months, and I did not have health insurance, so I know what it's like not to have health insurance in this country. I know what poor people go through now, because now I am one. I didn't have insurance, and now I got Medicaid. And that does not always give me everything I need. And that's what happened. And I pray, and I ask everybody out there, think about me. If you want to come up and visit and talk about peace, come on up. I ask everybody out there, and I want to thank everybody in this hospital. I want to thank Dr. I think his name is Ojiami, if I'm pronouncing it right, did the surgery. And I want to thank everybody out there. I want to thank the city council for thinking about me. And I want to thank you too, Alvaro and the other people, Deanne and what is it, John? I want to thank all of you people. And I want to ask people out there, please, don't use violence. Don't use guns. If you see your kid with a gun, take it away from them. Don't buy gun toys that look like the real gun. Please don't do that, because that teaches people that violence is the way out. And it's not. And I don't wish this kind of pain on anybody. I'm on pain so bad that sometimes morphine even doesn't work. And right now I'm on the morphine pump every 10 minutes. To lower the pain level, because I got sick today and I hurt the leg again. So please, don't use racism. Remember, black people are just like us. They're no different. We're equal. What they do to the black man and the black woman, they're doing it to me too. So please, don't do anything harmful to anybody. If you don't do anything to the immigrants, what you're doing to the immigrants, you're doing it to me too. When you're hurting and killing another human being, you're doing that to me too. You're putting me through agony. So please, when they say, I want you to feel better, I want you to mean it. Do something for peace today. Tell your children you love them. Give them a hug every night when you go to bed. Look them in the eye and tell them you're doing what you can for peace. And teach them how to do it. Don't beat your child up. Don't throw anything at the kid. Don't teach the kid that drugs are all right, because drug abuse is not good. If you really need it for pain, it may not work if you abuse it. It's not a toy. These drugs are not toys. They're actually strong medications. In the wrong hands, they can kill. They can be a poison. So please remember that. Don't take any of these drugs on the streets. And don't buy it and don't sell it. Because if you sell it, you're hurting another human being with it just to make a dollar bill. And that dollar bill is nothing but a damn piece of paper. And human life is worth a lot more than a damn piece of paper. Remember that. And please, don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote this year. It's an important election. Don't forget to vote. City Council is going to be voting. And Terry Siemens is running again. And that makes me feel good. He's my councilman in Ward 4, here in Takoma Park. And that's my best city. He's done a lot for my city. And I love that. And I love everybody who lives in the city and every other city in the country. I want other cities to appoint peace delegates so that they can start doing the same thing I do. It's not that hard. It really isn't. It's really not. It's really not hard to be nonviolent. You don't need to pick up a weapon. I have not picked up a weapon yet. I don't even know what a gun feels like. I don't know what the weight of it feels like, and I don't want to know. Because, if you have a gun laying around, it's too easy to pick that gun up and shoot somebody in the spur of the moment just because they say something you don't like. It's not worth having that damn thing around. Those guns are vicious. They bite, and their bite kills. Remember that. So please, don't bring a gun into your house or into your life. There's already over 300 million guns out there, more guns than there are people in this country. And we don't need them. The stores need to stop selling them. Walmart had already said that they're going to stop selling the AK-47s. And I think that's great. That's a good step for Walmart. And I think other stores should stop selling guns too and weapons. There's no need for a store to sell that to somebody who's not even trained how to use it and who's already got anger problems. There's no need, and you can't tell that when you're selling it. And they need to do thorough background checks on anyone who even thinks of buying a gun. We need to get a lot more control on these things to get them out of the hands of the people who are too unstable. And remember, work for peace. Love it, love it, love it, and don't forget to vote. Love it, love it, love it. I don't want to see anyone else go through this kind of pain that I'm going through. Thank you very much. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, this project is 3 custom designed letterpress prints that I designed that I'm making to help give back to the community with this crisis going on right now, and with so many people, you know, with their livelihoods basically put on hold, restaurants and shops, retail, all the small businesses that make our community so great. I wanted to figure out a way that I could give back, do something that's special that people would want to, you know, hang up in their homes, donate some money, and hopefully raise something that I can, you know, make a difference for everybody right now. Yeah, so far it's been going great. You know, my expectations were to raise a little bit of money. I was hoping for maybe $1,000 or $2,000. So the fact that we're much past that is great. I mean, my only expectation was to just help. You know, anything past that is great. So I love that it's doing so well and that we're making money. I knew I wanted to create some prints for Takoma Park to begin with, you know, as a project that was on the backlog of like, when I get time, I'm going to come up with some ideas, and this sort of just gave me the opportunity to do it now. So I knew that Roscoe the Rooster was popular here in Takoma Park, Azalea City, and that we're just a great, you know, group of very diverse backgrounds, all creeds and cultures here in Takoma Park. So that's where the whole Takoma Park Together print that I came up with came to me. Basically, it starts with a sketch. I put it down on paper. I then bring it to my computer to start designing. So there's 2 ways to do letterpress. One is using metal typography and metal type. So that's what these drawers here are. This is one way to do it, is that every single individual letter comes on one piece of metal type. So it's very labor intensive. So you can create designs and lay out text using this old metal type. And this is also, you know, hundreds of years old. Where I like to do it, and kind of my background, is in using digital tools. So I like the sort of juxtaposition of very old school technology with a printing press that's, you know, over a century old, and then new technology using Adobe Illustrator and the computer to come up with my designs. Once I create the idea, I then bring it onto the computer and I start designing. So I create iterations. I know I have a, you know, a basic direction of where I want to go, but I sort of take it one step at a time, and it kind of changes. But, you know, I'll work on it for anywhere between like an hour to a few hours to even longer, depending on the complexity of the design. Once I'm happy with it, I then create artwork that I send out to a plate maker, and they create a plastic plate. So they take the design and they put it on a polymer plate. It's basically plastic. It then etches out anywhere that you don't want it to be printed, to wash it out with a they use a light to burn it in. Anywhere that was exposed hardens, and that's where the design stays. And anywhere else that was not exposed can wash away with warm water. So it's actually raised, and that's how the design gets pressed and printed into the paper itself. I have to cut down the paper, and I have another 100-plus-year-old guillotine, which will cut through you know, several inches of paper. I grew up with 2 brothers, and we were all very artistic. We would draw, paint, do sculpture, kind of come up with projects. So it was always kind of with us from an early age. And I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York City for a formalized education in graphic design. I did everything from branding, visual identity, packaging design, posters, things like that. And I've been doing that for years, and that's kind of that's what I do for my career as a day job in a marketing creative agency in DC. Letterpress printing is something that I've always been interested in. It's a really awesome old school technology that's been around 400 years. Back from the Gutenberg Bible is kind of one of the first times that this type of printing technology came into being, and it kind of fell out of favor in the 1950s, 1960s, when more affordable commercial printing technology came into place, offset printing. And a lot of these presses that I have behind me, they were scrapped for, you know, for their weight in metal. So a lot of these have disappeared, but there are quite a few left. And now they're kind of a specialty type of printing. So you'll see them anywhere from like really nice business cards, wedding invitations and stationery sets, things like that, where people want to have something that's really tactile and special. So the past few years I've been learning the technique of printing, realizing that like, oh, I could be doing this myself. Instead of trying to sell it to clients and find a printer to do it, I thought I'd get my hands on it. Really enjoyed my first class and knew that this was something that I wanted to pursue. And that's just sort of where I've been going with it the past few years, and kind of just learning new things and figuring it out as I go. So here you can see the design that was put onto these polymer plates. I've adhered it to this base, which is a very specific height. It needs to be at 0.918 inches, which is considered type high. That way the rollers that carry the ink will hit it just right. And then this metal frame is called a chase, which fits right into the press. The form or the design goes on one side. The paper goes here. This is the platen. So every single sheet of paper actually gets fed into the press one at a time. It's very hand done, and you make all adjustments with the depth of the impression by putting more paper underneath your actual printed sheet. So you can get, a very light impression into the paper, or you could actually get much deeper. And what makes letterpress really cool is that you can get a really deep impression that you could see and actually feel in the paper itself. So the press that I have is a platen press. It kind of works like a clamshell, open and close, really simple. There's one side of it has the design, the other side has the paper. And this certain press, it's good at producing, multiples of 50, 100, 1,000 different prints at a time. So it's a workhorse. It weighs 1,500 pounds. It has a 10 by 15. That's the size of the platen where the paper sits. So we could do prints all the way up to 8 by 10, which is the size of the Takoma Park prints that I'm doing. I got this press actually up in Red Hook, Brooklyn. There is a site called Briar Press where I've been scouring the classifieds and found this one for sale. So it was a really fun and crazy weekend of driving up, renting a U-Haul, going into Manhattan, going through Brooklyn, picking this press up on a trailer, and then driving it all the way back here. I got it back here in one piece. So happy about that. I had been searching for maybe upwards of a year, just looking for the right one. I knew that I wanted a press similar to this one, a floor press, and had a certain price range in mind, and things would come up, and a lot of these are either in people's basements and they're rusting away, put in a back corner, 60 years ago, and never thought about again. This one happens to be in great shape, so I was really excited to find it. It's made of cast iron, and it's got gold pinstriping. So half of the appeal for me with letterpress 2 is just the technology. This press is 130 years old, and it is still working just as well as it did when it was first made. It's really cool stuff. So this is where the plate starts to get inked up. So I usually do it, let it run over it once or twice, and then I'll pull this back, take the first print. So right now I'm looking for a few things. Again, want to make sure the alignment looks correct. Optically, I feel like it wants to move over slightly, and then I'm also just looking to make sure that the ink looks clean on all of the different the letter forms, that there's nothing bleeding out, that it's not over inked. Right now it looks a little under inked. You can see how it's a little bit paler in these larger letters, so I might want to put a little bit of extra ink on there, but otherwise that looks pretty good. With this whole letterpress endeavor, it's a passion project of mine, a little bit of a side hustle. It's been about 6 months where I sold my first few prints. Right now I'm doing custom art prints. I'm doing greeting cards, and I'm doing print for hire, basically for people who have business cards, stationery, or wedding invitations. And so that's all been great, and I'm just basically exploring more of the design of what I can do on there. So not so much the technology that I have, since I have what I need. Now it's really trying to figure out, how can I push the limits, and what type of different designs can I come up with. And the parts that I've enjoyed the most is creating these art prints that people hang up on the wall. It's really gratifying to have people connect with my artwork. As a commercial graphic designer, as my career, I'm usually working for clients and, kind of envisioning sort of their vision and trying to figure out where their business should go or what it should look like, and their strategy behind that. So it's really nice to create original artwork that, is mine and that people connect with, and kind of just want to go from there. My name of the letterpress studio is No Plan Press, and it's basically no plan. I don't really know where it's going to head or where it's going to end up. I have ideas of where I would like it to go, but I'm kind of open to seeing where it takes me.
Chalk Riot is working in partnership with the city of Takoma Park, Maryland to create a sustained chalk art campaign over the next couple of months to highlight local businesses, all the local businesses that are still open during this pandemic, and also to add positive messaging and also messages of safety and how to keep each other safe during this pandemic in public community spaces as well. There's going to be almost 60 pieces all throughout Takoma Park. So what we're creating today outside in between the Takoma Park Rec Center and the Hampshire Towers apartments is a big 7-foot piece that is going to be an image of a butterfly with its wings spread open, and across the wings is 6 feet measured. So it's an illustration of what 6 feet apart looks like. First we measure, which is very important in this piece because the whole point of this piece is to illustrate what 6 feet apart looks like. So it's a butterfly with its wings outstretched, and there's measurements along the wings. So we'll have all these creative ways of reminding people to keep their distance. And so I've measured out the 6 feet wings, and then I'll start prepping the pavement by putting down the base layer, a base layer of chalk paint. And after putting the base down, then you just fill in the detail, and that's the fun part. That's when I get to use all these beautiful colors, and we're hoping that this catches the attention of all the residents that could see it in their windows from around. Chalk art for about 7 years, and I've been painting murals for over 10 years. Where I was living in St. Louis, Missouri before, there's not a lot of public art, and I had a desire to bring more art to the public, and sidewalk chalk was an accessible, easy way to do that. And also I found that sidewalk chalk was a great way to start dialogue with community members. And use it as a tool for communication, just like how we are today, and that's one of the reasons I love it. This is a technique that you can do at home with just sidewalk chalk, and you can just dip any paintbrush in some water and then run it over the sidewalk chalk, and then it just gives it a smoother appearance. So if you have like a rough driveway or in a parking lot like this is a really great technique to just kind of smooth it out, and it saves your fingers. That's one of our most common things that we're asked is, you know, do we get sad when it washes away? But to us, that's one of our favorite parts, is that you can't get too attached to anything, and that teaches you a lot of life lessons as well. Well, one of the most well-known characteristics is that it's ephemeral, it doesn't last. So it washes away. So the next time we get a downpour of rain, this will be mostly washed away. Other characteristics are that it's really accessible. So especially right now, you see lots of people experimenting and playing with sidewalk chalk while they're maybe stuck at home or stuck away from school. And so it's really great for all ages. And you can find it most places, at pharmacies or hardware stores, art stores. Other characteristics are that it's a great community connector, and so it's for the public. This is art for the public. There's no fee to see it. There's no gatekeeping around it, and so this is for everybody. Sometimes there's like a really juicy old cement that's really good. But that's kind of harder to come by. But asphalt's like my second favorite, I guess, one of my favorites. Art is absolutely essential during this time. And you see people staying at home, what are they turning to? They're turning to books, to music, to TV shows, movies. All of these are art forms that are very essential to our daily life, to our mental health as well, and just for our happiness and enjoyment and mental clarity and focus. So it's very important to invest in the arts right now in this time, and for cities, especially like Takoma Park, they're doing a great thing by investing in the creative economy by forming this partnership, and that's really exciting. No, I mean, the challenge, I guess, is gonna be in the future making sure nobody drives over it. But other than that, it's been pretty easy going, this spot. I'm pretty addicted to chalk art, so I don't foresee that changing anytime in the future. But my hope is always to continue introducing this art form to as many people as possible. So hopefully through this project, we can introduce people of all ages and skills and abilities to the art form and maybe try it on for themselves.